All right, perfect. Good deal. Good morning. How's everybody? Good. Get rid of this. Try to be organized. Sorry, we're a little bit late getting started, so. We're doing okay on the live cast? We'll see how. You guys are, it's always safer to be here in person. So if you're relying on the live cast, all right, technology can fail you. Just ask the Democratic caucus last night in Iowa, all right? Technology can go awry in a hurry. So it's always, kudos to you guys for being here. So it's always safer to be here in person. Nick, how are you, man? You look good. You losing weight? Yeah, I'm telling you, he looks good, doesn't he? Huh? See, exactly. See, good deal. Well, perfect. Good to have you back. All right, so we got action-packed. Some of you, just a quick FYI, after this, we're going to be here till about 11. The goal will get done. We're going to wrap up, and then we'll take a quick break, and then we're launching 100K at 11:30. Right after this, from 11:30 to 1-ish. Try and get as fast as you can. So if you're sticking around for that, great, because I think other people will be coming in who weren't here. So we'll clear out and then transition on over. So, Jim, before I forget, let's go ahead and take care. Jim was at what was it? Why don't you tell us? Panel?
Broker informative meeting.
I'll let you hold this.
All right, yeah. I'll just come up.
Okay, perfect.
Easier. I get to clip it on now.
So you do.
All right, cool. All right, everyone. I'm just going to give you an update on the, for everybody who doesn't know or do know, it's fine. You can tune in and tune out. For the waiver form, what is expected now with the new NAR rule. So we all know the old waiver was from the MLS, right? And the NAR has put this rule in place, but they've put it upon the MLS. So it's really the MLS enforcing it, but it's NAR's rule, this one-day rule that you've all heard about. So the waiver rule is that you must submit a waiver. They're going to have two forms now that are coming out. They're not going to be out until March 3rd, 4th, whatever that Monday is. So that the two forms, one's going to be exclusion for the entire listing period. The other one is going to be an exclusion till such and such date. They're basically, for all intents and purposes, we're all talking about coming soon, which is the same thing. I don't know why people try to separate it. It's all the same thing. It's off the MLS until such and such date, which is the coming soon as well. However, here's the rule, though. The one-day rule that NAR has kicked in place is you are not allowed to publicly advertise your listing during that, well, let's just say even with the waiver. So what happens is the moment you advertise it, like you put a sign in the yard, you hand a flyer out, you put it on Facebook, anything like that, any type of public advertising, phone calls. If you call people that are not your clients, you must put it in the MLS within 24 hours. You have 24 hours to get it in. Doesn't matter if your sellers waive the MLS, they cannot say no to the MLS. So if you have a client that says, I never want it in the MLS, you have to have the house just sitting there with no advertisement. That's NAR's rule. No advertisement. Zero advertisement. The only people you're allowed to advertise it to is within your company. So within your Future Home Realty, luckily we are all one big company. So we have a lot more power than your local companies that are national brands have different brokers at every office. So there's different CQ numbers. We have one CQ number. So we can advertise to anybody under that CQ number. Whereas like other companies that have different CQ numbers from one brokerage to another cannot cross advertise to each other. They can only do it within their small office, that's it. So we have a little advantage, but even if you have the $1 million listings, so this is my argument, is $1 million list, people who have like $20 million house don't necessarily want the MLS. They just want you to put a sign in the yard and see, just keep it quiet. So they don't want all these people trying to come see it. They don't want realtors coming to see it and just preview it to see a $20 million house looks like. They don't want us traipsing through the house. They want serious buyers only. Doesn't matter. Can't list it. Well, you can list it. You just can't advertise it. Does that make sense? Does anybody have questions on that? Yes.
So the one loophole pretty much is our FHR coming soon listing Facebook page. We can advertise coming soon in that small little.
The FHR listing.
Their MLS.
So we can't put it on 100K, but we can
If that's a closed loop and there's nobody from another company in there, you are fine. If you have one person from another company in there, do not put it on there. So you better know, because if that one person complains and they're not with Future Home Realty, they can turn you in. The first fine is $500. They did tier it at least. First fine is $500. Second fine is $2,500, and so on and so forth. But if you get to the second fine, it's probably going to put you out of business. You're dropping the $2,500 a pop on those. Yeah.
I did hear about an office-only listing. Are you familiar with that, Jim?
They were talking about it, but that's the same thing. In my opinion, the way they're talking about it is just a listing in the office. It's an exclusive brokerage listing.
Yeah, the only word
So.
I don't know if we can get clarity on it. My only understanding was that you're allowed to advertise publicly, but the listing is only like compensated, like office only.
No, you can't do that. You cannot, the moment you put it publicly, you must put it in the MLS, which means you have to offer compensation. Now, we don't talk about compensation, but you can offer whatever you want. But you must put it in the MLS. And it has to be available to everybody. We were talking yesterday about possibly doing a coming soon section of the MLS and what that would look like. Last time they revisited it, they said no. It wasn't really necessary. But this time, we talked about it, so they're going to throw some ideas around. One of the thoughts was to make it so that agents can only look it up. They're the only ones that can look it up. It doesn't go out to your clients. The public can't see it. It doesn't go out to IDX. It's just on the MLS, and you have to physically type the address in to see it. So you can't just search coming soons. You have to know one in your neighborhood, look that one up by address, get the information. Then you're at least a little more knowledgeable. But that's the coming soon type thing. Yeah.
Did you tell her that we cannot advertise on the FHR Facebook page?
I honestly wouldn't, because I don't know who's on there. I'm not in charge of that. Bob's not in charge of that. That one's, you guys have kind of created that. So I don't know if you guys have let in people. I am not policing it.
Jim's not on Facebook
Okay.
much. FHR listing pitch, yes, you can. All right. Just us agents, FHR, yes. Well, we don't allow advertising of listings there anyway. So FHR listing pitch, yes. 100K, no.
So where's the FHR listing pitch?
On Facebook, and I bet you put an FHR listing pitch, you'll find it.
Yeah.
All right.
Now, you guys, whoever's monitoring that needs to kick out people who leave our company.
Yeah.
So that's going to be an issue for you guys. You need to make sure that if they're in there and they're not with us anymore, you need to kick them out. I'm sorry. I'm not monitoring that, and I'm not going to.
Manuel
So
Woodrum, I think, monitors
whoever's in
that
charge of
one.
that needs to make
Just
sure
us
that
agents,
happens.
Chris Light.
Yeah.
John.
If I'm talking to a seller today and I say, okay, we're going to keep your house off the market for 30 days because you need to do work or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, and they say, fine, we agree to that. You need to sign this form that says I'm not going to advertise it at all. They say, okay. Is that to prevent them from going on their Facebook page and saying, hey, I'm about to sell my house?
That's fine. They have to put, but they can't put your info on it though. If they put your info on it, you need to tell them to take it down. Like if they put a sign in the yard that says for sale by owner and your phone number's on it, that's illegal anyway. You can't do that. So don't let, well, it's the same concept if they put your info on Facebook
But if they
with it.
called, let's say their friend says, oh, hey, I've been wanting to buy your house, and they've already got a signed listing with you, all right? Then at that point, they
Yeah.
can say, now you got to talk to my buddy John. Yeah.
Nothing's stopping you from selling it. It's just the advertising thing.
advertise it.
Right. But what I'm saying is like if somebody comes off the street and says, hey, I want to, I heard, I'm a neighbor down the street, or my friend's a neighbor down the street, and they told me about this place that's coming on the market that, maybe the neighbors talked or whatever. Can I see it? You can still show it. Now, the thing about showings, just so you know, is when you show a property, you cannot tell other people, other agents, they can't show it. So you must show, if you're going to show it, you must show it to everybody. You must allow for showings for everybody. If you are never going to show it yourself, then you can tell other agents no. Sorry, there's no showings. That's the only time you can say no showings. Even if it's off the MLS.
So John takes it 30 days off the MLS, it's not going to be advertised. His owner puts it on their own Facebook page. A friend of the owner sees it on Facebook and says, hey, all right, Agent Smith, you're my agent, and I've heard about through a roundabout way that this property is available. They can reach out to John and say, hey, I want to look at this property.
Yeah, they would probably reach out to the owner because
Well,
they wouldn't know
first,
John.
And the owner would say, oh,
Yeah,
you got to talk
I've
to
got an
my
agent,
John.
yeah.
Exactly, because they wouldn't know John. Okay, we can what if this all day long. Okay, I'm just gonna I can bottom line things in a hurry, so let's go.
It's advertising. Okay,
Okay.
if they find out, Zillow finds out, or etc. finds out that the property is for sale, you can stop them to put it up and make it publicly aware that the
Who?
property. Zillow or any of those other companies. Once they find out the property is on the market, they put it on.
No, you can't put it on Zillow.
You can't put it on Zillow. That's advertising.
This is just to stop you guys from getting fined. That's all it is. So just make sure you're not doing it.
We're not saying any.
The rule's for you. They're not going to find the homeowner. So it's all you. And we're not getting fined. Just so lastly, on this fine stuff, just so you know, and I'm sorry to throw you guys under the bus, but I'm trying to protect the company. So I'm protecting Bob. Is that if you get a fine, all fines go with you. You can't just leave this company and the fine stays with Bob because he's the broker. He's not responsible for any fines.
Support from the state of New York
At-
when they track you down here and we
Yeah.
get a court order that says we got to
Yeah.
take your money.
So you're going to have to pay it
They caught me
eventually.
now, so now I'm at Rutland.
Yeah, can't do that.
Yeah, none of that.
Did this come about because of the news that put it coming soon, they've got it advertised and then it comes on MLS?
Yeah, it's
So
just
we can tell you where,
it's
here's where it
fighting the
came from,
comments.
all right?
It's-
Here's where it
yeah.
came from. Owners putting, listing agents taking listings, not telling their owners that they were not going to put it in the MLS because they thought they had a hot property. They were going to imply that it was going to be in the MLS. And they were going to hold it off for 2 weeks, see if they could double dip it. Unscrupulous. It's 0.5% of the population. So let's punish the 99.5. I get it, right? That's where this initial waiver came from. Where this NAR policy came from is there's a company called Compass out in California who says, you know what? We own 40% of this market, right? We own it, all right? 40% of this market is sold by Compass agents. So we're going to screw the rest of the MLS, and we're just going to sell our own listings, which, by the way, in my opinion, they have every right to. If they can sell it without involving other agents, God bless them, as long as it's clear to the sellers that that's what they're doing. To free market, where, hey, it is what it is, and, I'm going to do same thing with you. Hey, look, I'm going to hold this off the market for 2 weeks because if I sell it myself, I'll do it for 4.5 as opposed to 6. We both make more money, and let's give it a shot. Fully disclosed to all parties. I understand what's happening. Good to go, right? Not everybody was doing that. Good to go. And quite frankly, I'm a NAR director. I will be full, I will admit to you fully that this was dropped on us at the last board of directors meeting in November. Yeah, November, right? I said, hey, look, as I'm reading this, right? Because who's been on a Florida Realtors board of directors? Okay, you're voting on 4,622 things. And we're electronic now. I. Right, let's get out of here. I got a plane to catch. I. Right? Okay. Here's the problem. I said, hey, look, can we still waive out of this? Right? Can we still do our waiver like we do here at Stellar, right? Can we waive out of this thing? Oh, yeah, no problem. Waiver's fine. Well, waiver's not fine. So when I go back in May, all right, one of my goals is to try and undo this thing. Undoing something like this, good luck, buddy, right? But I'm going to do everything I can to undo this because I don't think, A, it wasn't presented to me as a NAR director properly. And, I said, hey, look, as long as the seller can sign a waiver that says, hey, look, I agree that it's not going to be in the MLS, just like we do at Stellar, and I'm fine. That's not what this says. We have no choice, right? The seller could say, I know it's not in the MLS. They'll shout it from the mountaintop, and guess what? The minute it gets on Facebook or it gets advertised by you, right, then it has to go in the MLS. I think that's an abuse of power by NAR, right? I really do. That if a seller truly wants this to be off MLS, like Jim said on the $20 million listing, I don't want the world traipsing through saying, how does J-Lo live, right, or whatever. And it's it's an issue, right? So I'm going to at least lead a charge to try and undo it. Now, I'm one of 1,412 board of directors members, so whatever percentage of the vote that is, I'll do the best I can. You good? All right, so right now, here's what we have to do, right? Jim just told you. You got to, A, have the waiver, right, if you want it off the MLS. But if you start advertising, I don't care if you have the waiver, you better put it in the MLS because the minute you get turned in, you're going to have a $500 fine, and you better remove it quickly because then it'll go to $2,500 second offense.
And they suspend your account too until it's paid.
Okay? So
So you're done, basically. You pay the money or
Yes.
you either pay or leave.
When does this become effective?
March.
March 3rd.
3rd.
It's actually effective January 1 was NAR's rule.
Yeah, but they don't have.
But they're giving the MLSs time to implement it and get their systems in place. So our MLS Stellar is kicking it in that Monday, the first Monday in March, basically. Tuesday, maybe, the Monday or Tuesday in March. So.
It was a
They
knee-jerk
said that, but then they
reaction.
said that, the person in charge said, I might need an extra day. So.
Got it.
But it's basically at the beginning of that week. So, yeah.
Just, I'm having an issue just with the date because most of the listings need time for repairs. If I think it's gonna be 30 days, can I put 45
Good
days
question.
early?
Good question. I recommend to everybody that asks me this question, and some of you have, I recommend you do the waiver for the entire listing period. Because at any point, you can still put it in. What do you care? It doesn't matter which form you use. That way you're covered. You do entire listing period, you're done. And I've cleared this. I've asked this question. There is no form to say that now they're undoing their waiver, that they're accepting it in the MLS. You just put it in the MLS, and that is the exception, so that's all it is. So you just put it in when you want. So do the entire listing period, then you don't have to worry about the date. Just my opinion, and you're totally allowed to do that. 100% works.
Now, you got to have a discussion with your seller because, hey, wait, I'm waiving my right to put it in the MLS. What does that mean, right? Is it or is it not? Is it MLS?
Yeah.
I thought I was getting MLS. I thought your signs. So you're going to have a discussion with your owners about this, right? It's all about communicating to them properly what's gone down. Now, you can throw NAR under the bus and say, hey, look, man, these guys up in Chicago, way on high, decided to pass this thing, and I don't know what they were smoking at the time, but we've got to deal with it right now, right? And so here's our workaround, and here's what we're going to do. I will prove to you that it will be in the MLS. All right, as of such and such a date, I'll show it to you. I'll send you a copy so you have a copy so you know
Which
it's
you
in
have
the
to do
MLS.
anyway.
Right. Which
You have to
do.
send them a copy anyway.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
This only applies if there's a listing agreement that's signed.
Yeah, it's
Correct.
from it's from the latter of the two dates. So
Correct.
it's the latter of the two dates. It's the, I'm sorry?
If there's no agreement, can you advertise it?
If there's no listing agreement, can you advertise it? Go for it, but, okay, you better trust your seller. I mean, I'm not advertising anything. I don't have a signed
Yeah, you don't have a
agreement.
signed
Why
listing, or
am
you
I,
don't have no,
know,
yeah.
That's why people all the time say,
Well,
hey,
that-
why don't I just delay the
Yeah, but
listing
that's like,
agreement date?
that's like the IDX. You can have the IDX on your website, and it's advertising all those houses. So same thing.
General listing in like in the Wall Street Journal, there, for real estate, does it?
General listing, like you're not advertising specific property.
Any listing you have.
No, just
No.
the fact that it's, when.
Hey, I have houses to sell in Florida, you're fine.
Make
Okay.
it enticing for an investment.
You have houses to sell in Florida, yes.
If you have any questions on this, call FAR Legal. Like if you
Yeah.
are unsure, you know why? Because it's your fine.
Yeah.
I don't get the fine. Bob doesn't get the fine. You get the fine. So you want to make sure you're right. So, because if you blame it on us, we're just going to say, I'm sorry, you should have been paying attention.
And we have it
So-
on video.
Yeah. We've given
All right.
We've given the rules.
Exactly.
And here, my advice: don't try to circumvent the process. Just follow it. You'll be 100% better. So it's just easier that way. But you can do that one thing where the waiver, because that's part of the process. You can do that. Yeah.
So one quick question, completely following all of that. It was one thing that you had mentioned. So if they catch when another agent catches when everything's been done so far and they want to show the property, it's not in the MLS. Now, I know if it was me, I'm going to ask the question. But if they don't ask what the compensation will be if they bring a, what's the compensation?
Whatever your listing agreement is signed for, that's what they're going to fall on.
Okay.
So if you've got a listing agreement, you've got it signed for a certain amount, they don't know it yet, but so you might as well just tell them. They tell them, say, yeah, we are, but, because it's going to be that.
Because if they ever had an issue down the road, if it wasn't in the MLS and they know that you have a signed listing agreement
Yeah.
and you agreed to let that showing occur, they could request in a arbitration hearing, request a copy of the listing agreement. Normally, they don't request that because we just hold out the MLS sheet and say, hey, here's what was being offered. They're trying to say 2.5 and they said 3.5.
And you may change your compensation. Maybe at first it is a pocket listing for a seller, and you can't put the signs or anything up, and someone gets wind of it. Just make sure you tell them, hey, just so you know, there's no compensation being offered, no cooperation. So that way they make their offer based on that, because they know that they got to get their whatever commission from their client. So I mean but your seller needs to know that too. Say, well, if the offer will reflect it.
Here's the thing. My suggestion, get your houses in MLS. They get a lot better at selling when they're in the MLS.
Yeah, we want them in the
I don't care who you
MLS.
think you are. You're all that six-pack and a bag of chips, right? Realtor in this area, but you're not. All right? And because I see the numbers and I know how many of your own listings you sell, all right? And it's way right side of the decimal. All right? Okay? So why not put in the MLS and let the 12,422 other realtors help you find a buyer for the home, because the seller, I'm assuming, wants to sell. That's why they signed a listing agreement with you.
And but the MLS knows the work you put into getting it in and active. That's why we fought hard, and we at least got 5 days. We were looking for 2 weeks, but because there's listings that take that long to get it in. Maybe your photographer's not ready. You're not going to put a load of listing in the MLS with a, honestly, sorry to pick on anyone, but don't use your camera phone to take the pictures. Hire a professional to do it. It's cheap enough. I mean, nowadays, just do it. So, but you got to get all that stuff lined up, and they know it takes time. So they give it at least 5 days, and it's from the latter of the 2 dates. Still, it's the latter of the listing start date, which is on page 1 at the top, the start date, or the signature date. So whichever one they do first. So if you think that you're going to keep the signature date off there for a while, just know you have no listing. Another agent can come in and take it from you. You have no listing agreement until that's executed. So if you're going to keep the signature and date off there or whatever, you don't have a listing.
Yeah.
So
you're going to be sly,
yeah.
right? And you're going to sly yourself right out of 48
Yeah.
or $4,800.
Yeah.
So if the owner signs it to say 1st of February, but you've got work to do and you figure 15th of February.
You do the exclusion.
You do the waiver.
The waiver of MLS, you waive it. That way it's just
So you can't
not
advertise.
on.
You can take pictures, you can do everything, get ready to go for a go live
The
day.
waiver, that 5 days goes from February 1st, not February 15th. Is that correct?
It's 5 business days from when you take the last date.
No, okay.
You
So-
can waiver forever.
No, I'm saying if,
5 days.
5
only
days from the
applies-
signature date or the start date, whichever one's the latter.
whichever is the latest?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
because I
Yep.
didn't get a waiver, I just thought.
Realize this, there's a difference. You understand, I hope we're here, right? I hope that we have this knowledge base, that there's a date that a listing is signed and the date that it goes in the MLS, right? The date it goes in the MLS is not the listing date. If I had $1 for every time an agent told me, yeah, but the listing date was January 12th. I said, when was the listing signed? January 1st? I said, that's your listing date. No, but it's not going in. I don't care when it's going in the MLS. That is not the listing date. The listing date is what's on the contract. And that's called an exclusive right to sell listing agreement. And if we're not there, got a great class on FHR University for you to understand what the listing paperwork looks like. All right?
Last.
Yes, last one.
Let's
'cause
wrap
we
it
can
up.
what if forever.
No, it's more about when you put this stuff on the MLS and you have that waiver, then you have to put your listing date as, the date that you started, the date that you took the listing, but then it shows on the MLS as if it already had like 10 days on the market,
That's why
15 days on the market. So you, in
the MLS hasn't figured that out, I don't think. You need to put honestly, I would put the date that the listing started in the MLS. Yeah,
For days on market, yes.
yeah.
Yes. Because right now, it can't be on market anyway, right? Until you actually put in the MLS. Because if you said it's on the market back 15 days
Yeah.
ago, then you should have put in the
And-
MLS in 1 day.
And to that point,
Right.
the temporarily off market, if you did it in the beginning, shouldn't matter.
Yeah, here's the thing.
On the
Take a
count
listing,
dates.
get it in the MLS. Period. End of story. All right? I don't care. Yeah, but Bob, you don't. I do understand. Don't tell me I don't understand. I flippin' understand. Right?
Yeah.
I'm tired of talking about it. Take a listing, have your stuff organized and your shooby-doo together so that you can get your photographer out there. It doesn't take you 24 hours to measure a flippin' room. If it does, you need to find another line of work. All right? Okay? I mean, by the way, those of you who's new to Future Home Realty, I'm the most unsympathetic broker you're ever going to find. All right? Okay? Because I just don't understand. Do your job. Right? And if you're not going to do your job, there are many other brokerages you can join that will allow you to not do your job and be part of their brokerage. right? I'm just telling you, okay? Life's way too short, and I'm getting way too old to have to deal with all these, yeah, but what if you list a home, get it in the MLS. I get the fact that your photographer might not be ready. Cool. Just say, hey, look, how soon can you get me the pictures, and we're ready to go. Okay, here's our go date. We took it on this. Let's sign this, because if we don't sign the listing agreement, I have no listing. And if all of a sudden the neighbor has a niece, has a friend, of a sister, of a cousin, of a school teacher that wants to buy the house, and you don't have a signed listing agreement, I have no way to help you try and go after that money, right? Because you don't have a signed listing agreement. Yeah, but I was just waiting to avoid the NAR rule. Well, you just waited yourself out of a $4,800 commission. I get it, right? So my suggestion is you do it, you have the waiver signed, you get your photographer there in as soon as possible, you have everything all stuff together, and you get it listed, and you get an MLS, and there's end of discussion, right? And if you want a pocket listed thing, you can't until I can get back to NAR in May and hopefully get these rules changed. Cool?
To quickly answer that is the date you put on the MLS is the date of the marketing. So therefore, that's how many days on market.
Correct.
Because it's off market before because
Correct.
you can't advertise it.
Correct.
Right?
That's right.
So your listing agreement can have a start date and it can have a signature, but you have to do the waiver, and that's off the market until such days. So that's the days on market.
And that's the answer for you, okay, is when the days on market starts on the day you put in the MLS, all right, because you have to, right? Cool? All right? I get it. Understand? Who's frustrated? I am, all right? Doesn't matter, though. We got to deal with it. I mean, we can rage against the machine all you want, right? Unfortunately, the machine is in control, right? It is what it is. So now companies like Compass out in California, you know what they're going to say? Hey, we control 40% of the market. We don't need your MLS. And you guys just overplayed your hand. So now you just lost 40% of your MLS income, right? We're just going to opt out, and we're going to not be NAR members anymore because we don't need you. We just proved that we don't need you, right? That's why you made this rule, all right? Yes. Good. All right. Cool. All right. Vendors, sorry about that. All right. Had to go through it. We got.
Don't give Jim the mic.
No. It wasn't Jim. It's the and it really is the NAR. And trust me, I was at the NAR meeting. All right. I'm fully in. I voted for the thing because I was told that the waiver would still apply, that we could still waive out of it. Obviously, they changed their mind after, or lied to me when they said that, or whatever the case may be. But you know. It is what it is at this point. We'll see what we can do to undo it. All right, so you guys got 12 seconds. Okay?
Hi, everybody. I'm Michaela Tolbert with Florida Strategic Insurance. We do home, flood, and we also have an auto section. So for those out-of-state clients, definitely let us know. I work with over 40 home insurance carriers and a dozen flood carriers, private and NFIP. So reach out, and I would love to help all of you.
Love that. That is exactly it. That's the goal. That's the bar, guys. All right? That fast. All right?
Hello, my name is Jerry Papa. I'm the broker-owner of Gulfview Realty Property Management. And for us, working with Future Home Realty real estate professionals is a privilege, and we enjoy working with each and every one of you. And as Bob would tell you, we protect your interest when your owner who does business with us wants to buy or sell. We send them back to you. We pay professional and very competitive referral fees, and we use a complete professional back end that is not antiquated, but it is systemically driven, and it has 24/7 password protected portal access by owners, by tenants, and by our management staff, as well as our property managers. So when you think about property management, if you don't have a property management professional on your team, think about inviting us to be part of your team, and especially if you're working with investors, bring us into the team before they make the decision, you make the decision with them on what investment property they want to buy, because we want to help your job easier and want to make you shine when ultimately that property is managed. They've made and you've made the right decision. Jerry Papa, Gulfview Realty Property Management. Thank you.
Great. David Rankin, owner of American Patriot Title, and unfortunately, guy I talk to way too often, all right, as in-house counsel, if you will, for Future Home. He's going to come back later because we're going to be talking about some things coming up. All right. Oh, hey, how are you?
I'm good.
All right, good to see you. You doing well?
Yep.
She can vouch for, do you like Trumpet of the Swan?
Yes.
See, those in the book club, she actually was the overachiever and went and got and listened to the audio version of Trumpet of the Swan. If you guys haven't done that, make it a goal. in the next month to read or listen to, not read, listen to Trumpet of the Swan. E.B. White, same guy who wrote Charlotte's Web, he reads it. You will cry in laughter. I promise you. It'll get you into audiobooks. All right? I'm telling you, if you haven't been there in a while, do something other than listen to the crap you're listening to on the radio anyway. All right. Okay. By the way, new to Future Home Realty, raise those hands again. I'm very opinionated as well. So, all right? Okay. Very good. Okay.
Good morning, Colleen Bebel, Equity National Title. Just want to let everybody know that Coffee with Council is going to be February 20th. We have a new home at the Palm Harbor Museum, which is located on Belcher and Curlew. So come see us. Our topic this month is going to be how to do your closing when you have a divorce or marriage. I thought it was very fitting for around
Divorce or
Valentine's Day. You know, how divorce, and or.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
So come see me to the 20th, 9 a.m., Palm Harbor Museum. I have flyers if you want them.
Perfect. Awesome.
Thank
Good.
you.
Thanks, Colleen. Good deal.
Hi, how
Hey,
are
good morning.
you?
You're back.
I know, I'm back.
Yeah, very good.
Sorry I missed last. I
That's
was
all
on
right.
vacation.
Understood.
Janet Sham, Old Republic Exchange Company. We're a nationwide qualified intermediary for 1031 tax deferred exchanges. They're going to be very big this year. Doing a webinar on March the 4th at 10 o'clock. It's a non-credit webinar, but you can log in from your smartphone, your tablet, your computer, whatever you want to do. If you want to text me with your email address, my cell phone is 412-389-5606, or you can send me a LinkedIn connection request, and the link to the webinar will be on there as well. And we also do 1031 exchanges. We work with Colleen's group as well, with Guju Law Firm. So it's nice to have a title company and a law firm that understands how these work, and they're a good go-to.
1031 exchanges, good bullet to have in your belt, all right? Okay, another tool to have there ready to go. Clients, there was just a question the other day on one of our Facebook pages about 1031. So, make sure you get tagged and jump in there, because it's something we need to make sure we're aware of. So, hey, how are you?
Hey, I'm great. My name is Adam Wojnarowski. I'm with State Insurance, or Obenredder Family Insurance. Tiffany is normally the face that you see from our agency, but she's unable to make it today. So just a couple things about us. We also work with 40 plus different carriers between flood, home, and auto. We pride ourselves in same-day quoting. And then also we pride ourselves in just our relationships with underwriters with the different carriers. Couple things that we're experiencing within the market. We are seeing a hardening insurance market. That's the trend right now. There's a few different reasons. The main reason is assignment of benefits abuse, which we have seen some legislation go into place. It's just taking some time to really take into effect. So insurance carriers are just being a little more picky. So if you have a home that you are curious on what the insurance would cost, send it over to us, and we'll be happy to present a same-day quote for you.
Perfect. Give him all your sympathy, because you live here. You're a Browns fan?
I am a Browns fan, yeah.
All right.
We're
Give the
around
gift.
to a new season.
All right, yeah,
There's hope.
exactly.
There's
There's
hope right now.
always next year, the famous mantra of every Browns fan. Okay, very good. Hey, how are you?
Hello.
How's the
I'm
Heckman
good.
Group?
We're doing great.
Awesome.
I'm Amanda with Heckman Mortgage. You guys usually see Brian. He couldn't make it today. But yeah, I just wanted to, we're still doing the Evolve Realtor program. We're going to launch the next round of classes. So if you've already plugged into that, we'll be reaching out to you soon, or you can email me, really simple, Amanda@the Heckman Group. We also got our playbooks in, so just reach out to me to get these. Just some stuff to organize, kind of like what we use on a daily basis
Nice.
to
Cool.
keep your days organized and evolve your business. We just ran numbers. If you're looking to give a new mortgage company a chance, last week closed contract to close date was 2.6 weeks, 10 days prior to closing date. So yeah, if you're looking for a new mortgage company, give us a call.
By the way, this whole group, by the way, has been vetted by me, right? And so there's no financial remuneration. I don't get a piece of their action. The only way I get a piece of their action is because they're good and they help you, and I get a piece of your action, right? And so that is the whole premise here, is that they can help you do more business. And when they do so, right, it's a good thing. It's a synergistic relationship. That being said, you guys understand that the day of closing, right, 44 days of bliss, right, and then a lender who screws the pooch at the end, right? or we're scrambling around and your client's frustrated and has to go because they don't want to wire money because of all the fraud and they're trying to get a cashier's check at closing and what's my number and this, that, and the other, and it's changing 16 times and they come running into closing, the whole happy. They might be smiling on that fake Facebook post you do with them holding the picture with the title companies around, right? Or whatever you guys do, right? Holding the key, right? But I can see on their face, some of them are fuming, right? Because dadgummit, we're 4 hours late. I had contractors who are supposed to be showing up already. My kid is at school waiting for me to pick him up in car line. And now the school's texting me 500 times saying, where are you, right? And everything else. So this whole happy closing day bliss gets thrown out the window. And guess who gets blamed? You. When it comes time to the, hey, well, how was your closing? Would you recommend your friend again? Let me tell you, you know what I mean? So have a team that's going to, and hold them accountable. Don't get me wrong. Lenders hated me, right? They did, because I'd say, hey, look, man, I don't want don't pay for half my ad. Screw that. I don't want any of your money. I want you to close my deals on time, period. Tell me yes and make it a yes. Tell me no and tell me no on day 1, not day 44, right? And so I can therefore properly set expectations and therefore meet those. So we have happy closing days. I have a better chance of getting future business out of a happy closing day than out of a harried closing day. So interview these people, all right? Don't take my word for it. Make sure they stand up to what they say they're going to do, because quite frankly, they may not admit it, but they probably would if we got them off camera, right? But they rely on you for their business. Majority of your business starts with you guys out there sitting in an open house and transacting a deal. There ain't no mortgage to do if you don't write a contract. There's no insurance to do if the contract doesn't go through and get to closing, right? There's no title to even research and get done unless you guys put a deal together. So they get that they need you, but I don't want you to forget that you need them. Fair enough? Cool? Awesome. All right. How are you? You guys were just out in San Francisco, weren't you?
We were.
See, why do you guys, is that where you guys are headquartered?
Yes.
All right,
San
good,
Ramon.
good. Okay, very good.
Yep.
All right.
Okay,
I was out in
so-
San Francisco in November, and I swore I'd never go back, but go ahead. All right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I enjoyed myself.
Well, I'm sure you did. That's great.
I just wish more brokers were like you.
Yeah, that's right.
Anyway, we have a brand, I'm Janelle with Old Republic Home Warranty. And we have a brand new plan. This month is the rollout, and that's why we go to San Francisco every January, because February is our rollout. And last year we added rekey, which most of you know that when your buyer goes into their house, they can get new locks and new keys, standard with any plan. And this year we're rolling out.
What's the charge? What, is there for no fee for the rekey?
It's just the
That's
trade
part
call
of the thing?
fee. Mhm.
That's a
Just
pretty good
trade call
deal.
fee.
By the way, if you aren't, that's the best closing gift you could ever give is rekeying a home, right? I need
Or
guys.
warranty.
But part of a warranty that includes a rekey a home is even better, right? But rekeying a home is critical, right? If you guys don't suggest a rekeying of a house, who in the world would go move into a home knowing that?
Somebody else has a key.
Oh no, I never gave the key to anybody, except the neighbor boy that one time when his house sat, and I had to get the cat, and the one that's buried in the backyard under that fake rock, right? Change the locks, for God's sake, right? It's not that expensive, and just get it done. So, sorry.
That's all right.
All right.
So with this year's new plan, we are including with every single plan emergency lodging up to $1,200 if the home has an issue with air conditioning and can't be lived in, or if there's a leak and can't be lived in, or uninhabitable by any other whatever you can imagine.
Act of God.
Yes.
Okay.
And then we also are including homeowner deductible reimbursement.
Oh.
$500. So 2 fantastic more coverage pieces for our
Nice.
plan.
Cool. Awesome.
All right.
Old Republic.
Old Republic Home Protection.
How do they get a hold of you?
Janelle, 352-300-0088.
Perfect.
That's me.
Good deal. Kev. How are you, man? Good to see you. Good.
Nice to see you. Hi, everyone. So, real quick, I'm Kevin Overstreet. I'm the owner of Insured Title Agency, and we've implemented a new thing there along the lines of the happy closings, eliminating problems. So, if you're waiting until contract to have a lot of people start working on the property, you're making a huge mistake. So, the ITA new listing service, all you literally have to do is send us the listing agreement at listing, because we want to start working on your sale as soon as you do. of the time that you're spending and potentially wasting on a property. We're going to do a preliminary title and find anything that's wrong with it and fix it 99 times out of 100. Or if it's not fixable, we're going to tell you, stop messing with that property. Municipal lien search, why are you waiting until contract when a buyer can find out about an expired permit? We're going to find out in the beginning and get it unexpired, closed out. And in addition to that, we are maximizing the portability of the seller's taxes. So you're costing your sellers, many of them, thousands, tens of thousands of dollars by not doing this. It's a new thing that we've implemented, and it's remarkable. We're saving sellers $3,500, $4,500 a year for the rest of their lives, recovering your commission in no time. It's a huge marketing thing. And then the fourth thing is fraud, shine, state enrollment for the buyer, which is something that blew Bob's mind.
It did blow my mind.
I'm actually being interviewed for a TV show today, or TV news station, for an hour to talk about this. But what no one understands is title insurance expires the day it's written. The effective date of your policy is the deed recordation date, and that's when it runs out. There's nothing currently protecting any property owner's ownership. Everything is just protecting against the past. Title companies, all of us, need to be aware of this, and the local title companies will actually be enrolling their people and earning a small commission for this. So title insurance ends at closing. Fraud, shine, state starts then. And I have a special gift for everyone here. So cover that up. If
Everyone here, live
Yes.
in person, we can touch you right now.
Yeah, so the annual membership for Fraud, Shine, State is $150, and that includes the recording of a notice of title fraud monitoring, which is patented, and that is actually going to stop the people from stealing title to your property. So for anyone in the room, go to fraudshinestate.com and enroll your property. You do put in credit card information. It's not used at all. They're switching that around for the next version, but put in the promo code, all caps, no fraud.
All caps, no fraud.
And you'll get a free year of monitoring. You get monthly updates saying, hey, there's not a new deed or not a new document, or there is a new document. Here it is, check it out. I'm nearing six figures with what I've spent on this system. It's incredible. And so please do that. And
it's really cool. Yeah, fraudshinestate.com.
No fraud.
Yeah.
That's also our phone number, 813-NO-FRAUD. But don't call it till next week because we're working on it. But I got the number. So that's it. Check it out. There's a ton of information there about what title fraud is. It's happening like crazy, like you wouldn't believe. And we can stop it for your property. And instead of charging you, you're going to give me feedback on how it looks on your end.
Perfect. Good deal. By the way, I checked that out. I mean, Kevin, after the meeting last month, brought me in, and literally from the time that we were sitting at the meeting, right, till about an hour later, hour and a half later.
3,500 people play that video all the way through.
Yeah. See, there you go. Okay. Well, the reality is that by the time that hour, right, he had somebody pull up my house in Windermere. All right, take a look at the recording of that. Pull it out. Basically, fake my signature and Jeanette's signature on this thing, and he essentially had transferred the deed to my property to somebody else with a valid, according to him, stamp from a fake notary. Boom. So, you know what I mean? It's amazing.
It's amazing how these bad guys are such simpletons sometimes, but that's the ones that get caught. The real criminals are the ones you never hear about.
Yeah.
But you don't have to have a notary help. Go to Amazon.com.
Yeah.
The notary stamp for whatever state you want. $18, 3 days, there it is.
Okay? It's scary, right? And so what Kevin's done, it's outside of his title company. It's called Fraud Shine State. It's essentially, I even mentioned in the video, it's kind of like, we all heard of LifeLock, right? It's a LifeLock for your deed, if you will, right? But it's even better because he says, and I would agree with this, the people that are looking to do this are looking for vulnerable properties, right? And these vulnerable properties, if all of a sudden they pull it up and they're looking at all the public record stuff, by the way, it's amazing what's public record, right? Okay? But they're looking at all the public record stuff and they see this first thing that comes up and says, hey, look, it's like hey, look, Mr. Burglar, I have an alarm system here, right? Okay? Like, you know what, let me go to one that doesn't have an alarm, right? And then when they see that monitoring, hey, this thing's being monitored, we're checking this thing with regular, because what they get away with is when it extends 30, 90, 60, 30, 60, 90, 120 days, now it's too late, right?
I was hoping to do the same thing to the news station today.
Yep.
But she's got a really common name, so it's way too many of them.
Yeah.
Which property was hers.
Right.
So I said, I'll just fake steal the building.
Yeah.
than being interviewed.
Yeah.
When I looked it up, the deed from 2014, 4 years later, in 2018, the owner of the company that deeded out is disputing the validity of the deed because it was fake. And now he's foreclosing on it with a quiet title suit,
Yeah.
and it's still going on. So I don't know how much I can say on the news.
Right.
The building I'm in like that. But
Right.
it took them 4 years to find out that there was a bank.
And again, it's very, because what they do is once they have title, then they go out and cash out refi on you, right? They cash out refi on this thing, and all of a sudden you go to sell it, and you're like, oh yeah, by the way, here's a second and third mortgage. What?
Well, and how many times have you heard, I can't believe Dad signed his property away to his caregiver right before he died? Common?
Yeah, right?
It's not that common that it is.
Right.
That's a fake deed, a lot of times. Why would you do that? It makes no sense. The kids get nothing, and can you ask Dad if he really signed it?
Nope. Yeah, and they got signature looked good. By the way, whoever you had forge my signature was a pretty good job. All right, is that you?
No.
All right. Yes, ma'am.
I guess I don't completely understand the fraud part, but if they register it with the county,
Uh-huh.
is that how they re-register the new deed? Because I was under the impression, I don't know about all the counties, but I know there's one in Hillsborough where you can register your property that tells you if
Yes.
anything weird is going on.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So it's
I
called,
don't know about
yeah,
the other
it's called
ones.
propertyfraudalert.com.
Yeah.
And what you do is you put in your name and email address,
Yeah.
and then it'll send you an email. It's free, so you should do it. It'll send you an email anytime something is recorded with that name. There's an easy way around it that I'll never disclose, but I tell people you need to have 2 types of monitoring. In the book that's eventually coming out in our website soon is do-it-yourself guide. Here's how you can check it yourself. At least do that annually. But yes, property fraud alert's available, and it is in the 3 counties here. Get it, but it's not very user-friendly. You don't know that you're getting the it's totally reactive. So also sign up with another service. There's a company in South Florida that's offering deed or title monitoring. I'm quite sure the guy that owns it is a criminal. Because what better way to trick you than to keep telling you everything's fine, everything's fine, everything's fine.
Right.
So you can't trust him completely. Don't even trust me completely. So get the county, do it yourself, and enroll with someone, because this is a rapidly growing crime.
And this is for you, and this is maybe, again, check out Kevin's site, right, and get more knowledge on it, but maybe recommend that your clients do this, or have a, maybe that's your version of a closing gift. Hey, I'm going to get paid for your first year of title monitoring, or whatever. Okay.
Talk with your title companies. Everyone thinks I do everything competitively. This is to fix the industry. It's a real problem in the title industry. And all of those title companies can enroll their buyers at closing as a gift from you or a gift from them, or just charge them however you want to do it. And then the title insurance baptizes the property and erases the sins of the past, and this protects them against bad things in the future.
Good. Got it? Cool? All right. Good information. Thank you very much. David, now we're ready. All right. So I brought David. I always get a chance to bring David up. David's our, like I said, not in-house counsel, if you will, but he's getting more and more in-house just because I tend to talk to him more and more often. All right? Okay? You and I are peeps, man. All right? He's one of my dudes. So here's the deal. David asked, well, what are we going to talk about? Well, David and I have gone, by the way, you guys noticed, we talked about this last month, the prohibition, the now prohibition, the now not allowing, the now you are no longer able to. How else can I say it? Okay. If you are the owner, you can no longer be the listing agent on your property. Does everybody understand that? We've gone through it. I put out the video. We even sent something in the mail, which we never do, right? It should have accompanied your 1099, right? So if you didn't get one, that means you didn't get a 1099, so I don't have to worry about you listing your own properties because you didn't sell anything, right? So, but I need to worry about it going forward, all right? So, but you should have been properly notified that we no longer allow it. It's based upon a couple recent discussions, i.e. lawsuits that I'm going through because of agent owners not disclosing property. Again, the whole idea is if an owner refuses to disclose, all right, David said, we're going to get the company policy out, and then David's going to back me up on this. So here's company policy, right? disclose everything you know about a property. Say it again, ready? Company policy on disclosure. Disclose everything you know about a property. If you are the listing agent and the owner is not disclosing, you still disclose in writing, thank you very much, okay? In writing, everything you know about the property, okay? That means when a seller says, hey, I've never lived in the property. It's all right, we're gonna fill out this thing that says you've never lived in property. Baloney, all right? Just because I never lived in a property does not mean I don't know something about the property. I have many investment properties that I've never lived in that I know a heck of a lot about. All right? So when I go to sell those properties, I must disclose everything I know about that property to the best of my knowledge. You know the seller's disclosure says to the best of your knowledge. If they can say to my best of my knowledge I have no issue, fine, check the box that says no issue. Yeah, but my attorney says I don't want to do that. Why? You don't want to tell the truth? Right? Why? I don't get it. Well, what if I forgot? Then prove you forgot. But it's going to be hard to prove you forgot when all of a sudden you say, I know no issues about any water intrusion issues, and then 3 months after closing, the buyer has a water intrusion issue and delivers a paid receipt from a water remediation company 4 months before they bought it that you paid. All right? Kind of hard to say I didn't know about it, right? And if you're dealing with a seller who doesn't want to disclose, move on, right? Here to tell you. And so there, with that policy, my thought would be when a buyer comes to me and says, hey, one of your listings had a seller that didn't disclose. I say, great, go sue the seller. Problem is, when that seller happens to be my agent. Go sue the wait, hang on. All right, let me look it up. Ooh, maybe not. All right, let's talk. What can we do to work this out, right? You know, that kind of thing is where my discussion goes. Whereas now I'm not going to have that discussion because you are not allowed to list your own properties. Now, ways around that, use our limited services listing agreement. Use somebody else's limited services listing agreement, right? I'm an agent and I want to sell my own property. I'm going to hire John within Future Home Realty. John, be my listing agent, all right? Okay, no problem. All those good, long as agent name, listing agent name, and listing agent owner, all right, or the owner of the property do not match. And by when I say do not match in any form, meaning ownership interest in, right? If you have your fancy smancy LLCs that you set up, we were the best flippers in the world, Inc., right? Okay, doesn't work if I go through those documents and find out that, oh, who's that owned by? Oh, John Smith. Who's the agent? John Smith. Doesn't work. Got it? Use somebody else. I just want to make sure we're clear, right? And I get it. Yeah, but I get it. There are many other brokerages to choose from. Jim hates it when I try and kick you guys out of our company, all right? Because I make his bonuses based on our agent growth, and I'm like kicking people out. It's like, dude, come on, man, right? But the reality is, life's too short for me to have to deal with lawsuits against things, of this nature. So, and it's a smidgen, right, of our business. So because of that, it doesn't hurt me when I say, hey, have a nice day, all right? There's other places for you to go, all right? We're just going to be, I call us the Hitch, right? Remember the scene in Hitch? We're staying right here, right? Remember when Kevin Bacon said he was going to get all dancing, right? All right? And Will Smith says, no, we're not going Q-tip, all right? We're just staying right here, all right? This is where you stay. And I like just real estate transactions right here. Yeah, but there's a guy that rolled into town that doing a weekend seminar. And he could show how to buy other people's money. If you take this, that, and the other, you can contort it 15 ways, and you have never a dime out of your pocket, and you can flip 17 homes in the next 3 days. Okay, yeah, go do that. And by the way, it only takes, how long, 63 hours to get your own broker's license? Go for it. Go open up your own real estate brokerage if you want to get all Q-tippy on me. All right? We're staying right here. All right? Nice. Let's service clients. I'm not saying don't sell your own property. I have my own properties, right? List it with Maureen. No, not Maureen. She's busy, right? List it with somebody else, all right? I'd make you list mine, but that's all right. Okay, I'd make Jim list mine. But we're just, we would just do it other ways, right? There are other ways around that. So disclose, disclose, disclose. One of the questions, I think, John, a couple of months back, remember we said that what if we disclose something that the seller won't disclose, and we disclose it, and then the seller gets upset because he finds out later that we've damage to the reputation of his home, right? We've stigmatized his listing unnecessarily. And my answer to you, John, if you remember, was I would rather defend a lawsuit against a seller who says you over-disclosed than against a buyer who says we under-disclosed. Are you with me? Okay? So I'm a big, you know what? What's it hurt to just tell people what went on? Hey, look, I don't know if this even matters, but 3 years ago we did that. Write it all down. Why not? Okay? So that's company policy. David, want to add anything to that? Besides in writing?
What's the answer?
Well, let's talk about some of our situations we're going through right now.
Situations?
Yeah.
Okay. We got
Well, and what do you have some contractual things that says, here's our obligation to disclose?
Quick points to make here.
Yeah, once you wear this.
This is disclosure generally is something that you should focus in on a lot more than you do, because I got a speaker for a seminar one group of attorneys. They all did real estate law, and I thought, well, it'd be really interesting to talk to or have a presentation by an attorney. All he does is defend realtors. And I said, I tell you what, give me the top three grounds, the top three bases for suits against brokers and sales associates. And he says, number one, David, is disclosure or failure to disclose. Okay, I'm writing that down. He says, number two is failure to disclose. And I said, let me guess, number three is failure. Yeah, you got it, David. He says, 90% of the suits that he handles are as a result of failure or an accusation of failure to disclose. So have we got everybody's attention? All right. So now one thing that some people rely upon is that, well, we use an as-is contract. All right? We have, first of all, we sit down with our clients and we read to them, and I know everybody does here, and we read to them on page or line 238. The seller is signing this document, which is called the as-is contract. And the as-is contract says on this line, strangely enough entitled Seller Disclosure, seller knows of no facts materially affecting the value, of the real property which are not readily observable and which have not been disclosed to buyer. Now, which have not been disclosed, I would say make absolutely certain that whatever disclosure you have is in writing. All right, I had a recent situation where somebody said, you know, I sold this lady, it was a flipper, not to give flippers a bad name, but I sold this lady a house, and it did have a sinkhole issue in 2005. It was remediated, and we, the buyer and I, talked about it, and she understood that she was buying a house that had been remediated back in 2005. The remediation report was excellent. And since 2005, there hadn't been an issue. But when I said, how did you disclose it? I said, well, we talked about it. All right? What is the first thing the buyer is going to say when the buyer claimed, exactly, that you never disclosed this? All right. I had another situation where there was a house in it was about a $1.4 million house, flipper, buys the house for about $700,000. There was not unbeknownst to the buyer, the flipper, as soon as they bought it, they put it up for sale. They spent a lot of money, like $350,000, $400,000. And somebody in the neighborhood sent them a text saying, did you know about the sinkhole? And make this a quicker story. So the flipper sells it and says, David, he says, you got the sinkhole issue. And I said, I tell you what, we are going to document this. We are going to document the hell out of this. All right? We are going to have them sign a document. And we are going to give them a copy of every piece of documentation you have, the property appraiser's report, the engineer's report. We're going to put it all together. We're going to have an inventory of all these documents. We're going to have a front page that they sign acknowledging this is what I received a copy of all this. All right? That is what we call written disclosure. All right? So whenever you think about disclosing, people normally, and I'm not sure what the normal thought process is, but what you want to do is have some written documentation signed by the buyer that acknowledges disclosure of whatever the condition is. Now,
Let me step into on the
Sure.
as-is contract. So herein lies the reason why we don't allow sellers to say never lived in the property. First of all, when we are representing the listing, when we're representing the seller as a listing agent, by us saying, hey, just go ahead and say you never lived in the property, you know what I'm implying to them? Hey, this is gonna cover you. This is your umbrella policy against all disclosure issues. Just sign this. I guarantee that every other, because you guys get them, right? And we say, hey, look, we don't allow it, and we make our buyers sign a watermarked 7-page seller disclosure that says seller refused to complete. Like, is that overkill? Yeah, well, tell me it's overkill. And then when you get sued and we use it, and you're like, oh my gosh, the suit just went away. I'm so glad you were overkilling me, right? Okay, the answer is there's a reason, because we would never allow a seller to be under the false impression, because we know that later on they're going to sign a contract that says, hey, look, I've disclosed everything in writing, right? That disclosure allows them to get it out onto the table, right? And this says, other than what you've already put in writing, is there anything? I'm guaranteeing there's nothing. I mean, to the best of my knowledge, they're not a home inspector. They don't have to know everything. But if they do know, they have to tell. And the as-is contract does not undo and it's bad advice out there right now. The one of the issues we're having with our agent seller, who is getting sued, is being told to this minute by his attorney, right, as an owner, because he has an owner attorney and he has our attorney protecting him, not David, because we had to get E&O involved, that's protecting him as an agent. But the owner part of it, he's saying, hey, look, no, the as-is, you're free, right? Bad advice from a seller. This guy's a personal injury attorney or something that's clueless about what our agent signed as an owner, right? And I keep telling our agents, hey, look, I'm not your attorney, but I advise you to seek other counsel, right? Because you're not free. The contract says otherwise. You still have to disclose. Sorry, am I right?
That's true.
Okay.
That's true. Now, the bonus question would have been, it's an as-is contract. All right, what is it in this contract that says you're buying it as is? All right, everybody thinks, this premise that's, attorneys are talking about, and some of you may have a misguided belief. Well, I am protected. It's an as-is contract. I'm shielded from all this. And no, the only thing that I could find, there is an as-is condition. There's a maintenance, there's an as-is maintenance requirement that talks about from the date you sign until the date of the closing, you have to maintain it as is in the same condition, except for wear and tear, up through the date of closing. And the purpose for the walkthrough is for the buyer to confirm that it is in the same condition. All right, that's about the only place that the words "as is." All right, right at the top of the first page, it says "as is residential contract." All right. Otherwise, other than what I just said, the words "as is" do not appear. So the only thing in this contract is in the property inspection section. It says, unless buyer exercises the right to terminate granted herein, buyer accepts the physical condition of the property. All right? That is your quote-unquote as-is protection, which is not, it doesn't shield you from suit if you're aware, or your buyer or seller is aware of a condition that should have been disclosed. The as-is part of the contract, which as you can see is minimal, does not protect you. If your buyer and if you, either one, have knowledge of a condition that adversely affects the value of the property, absolutely, positively, it must be disclosed, or you're subject to being sued. So, I had a number of jokes that I was going to tell. Bob says I can tell the first part, but I can't, because we're constrained on time, I can't give you the punchline. So, anyway, so that's.
David is actually, yes, ma'am.
How far back,
As far as you can remember, to the best of your knowledge.
well, my situation is, the thing about it, because I really, I know that the house, the person who listed it, I contacted them and said, you need to disclose that there's sinkholes. And they said, I don't know.
Not your job to tell them to disclose. You just tell your buyer, hey, look, I know of a disclosure and they're not disclosing, period.
It was sold.
Yeah?
Okay, rehab, the
Yeah.
house was.
Yeah.
The next person that bought it,
Yeah.
that person has got a sinkhole problem
Uh-huh.
with it, but it was
Yeah.
never disclosed and it was.
Okay, if that person reaches out to you, don't get, I mean, you know what, there's all sorts of proverbs about not getting involved in other people's business, right?
Okay, well,
I'm just saying, hey, look, you know what, go sell another house. If your buyer wants to look at that house and you know about it, disclose it. Hey, they're not disclosing it, I know about it, or let's do some more research, and here's what I know, at least here's what I have, all right?
I have another thing on disclosure. Do we need to disclose if a person was murdered in the house?
No. Florida law has dictated murder or suicide is not a materially factored issue that's going to affect the value.
But I would
Yeah.
clarify, 'cause we used to.
Different states have different
We
things.
used to have to disclose age, but we
Correct.
don't anymore either.
Correct. So, yeah, there's certain things. If you have a question, call the Florida Legal Hotline, Florida Realtor Legal Hotline. They'll tell you what these disclosure requirements are.
No,
Okay?
nor hauntings either.
Hauntings, right, exactly. Paranormal activity, all right? No, what's that old movie back in the day when they took all sorts of footage? The Blair Witch Project. Yeah,
I have a property
Yeah.
under contract.
Yep.
It's from my client investor. He's the seller.
Yep.
He's never seen the property before. He
Yep,
doesn't
to the best of his
legally-
knowledge.
So how do I feel, how he,
To the best of his knowledge. Does he know about any of these things? How do you know?
he told me, he doesn't.
Okay,
he's
tell him to
never
fill it
seen-
out. Tell him,
No.
right?
Absolutely. But
Right.
so this is not longer,
No, never
Right.
owned the property. Never occupied the property.
because I was
Right.
told that long time ago by Maureen, like, just to put it like.
Well, if he refuses to disclose, then put that.
Right.
Right? If that's his true, but I would say, hey, look, this doesn't protect you because you're going to sign this page of the as-is contract.
Right.
So you need to fill this out to the best of your knowledge. When he
That's
bought
correct.
it, he never saw the property, whatever. Did he get a copy of a home inspection that was done? Now I know something about the property.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Okay?
Now, if as an agent, we need to disclose anything, where, do you do it in writing, just like what, in an email?
What, that you would disclose? Like if you know about it and the seller refuses to disclose? I'd say, hey, Mr. Seller, we know that you know, right? So you need to disclose this. And if you're going to refuse to disclose it, just so you know, I'm going to put it in public remarks and the realtor only remarks leading in bold.
MLS to disclose it in
Absolutely. I would do that. And he says, I don't want you to do that, then you disclose it.
Okay.
And if you're not going to do it, then you find another realtor.
So question about that, I had a last sale that I did, I actually had the owner just disclose everything that he could.
Good.
So what about if he actually knows about a sinkhole and don't decide to put it in? I'm at fault?
Yeah, do you know about it?
No, I never, I mean, I really didn't know.
Okay, as long as there's no proof that
I mean,
you
I'm
know.
not saying it happened, but let's say.
Right. I'm just saying, but if you know about it, then you have to disclose. If he withholds it from you, we can't control that.
Okay.
As long as we said, hey, look, fill that out to the best of your knowledge, right? Okay. And that's why when they come to me later and say, hey, your seller didn't disclose, I say, sue him.
Okay.
I'll give you all the documentation. We'll give you everything we have in our property to help you sue the guy. Yeah, it was your client. I don't care. If he didn't disclose, he didn't disclose. But I don't want there anything there. Say, hey, remember that conversation, that taped conversation you and I had? And I told you, hey, look, there was a seller. And I had that. I said, speak, nod your head and say yes into my lapel, right? Okay. He was recording that conversation, so now you know. Now we're screwed. All right. So all you have to do is disclose everything you know. So here's the bottom line of this whole meeting. Ready? If you're going to list a property, put it in the MLS. If you're going to list a property, disclose. All right. In the store, we could have cut this shape, could have saved ourselves an hour and 10 minutes, all right? Okay? After all this stuff. And use these vendors. They're great. All right, there you go. End of meeting. Here we go. Yes, ma'am.
On that note, do we have a list of vendors?
We do. On our website, we got a preferred vendor site. Is that what it's called? Preferred vendor list. Jamie, you ready? Okay, so Jamie's been waiting to come up here. All right. How many guys have heard of Home Partners of America? Okay, good deal, right? They are providing a very valuable service. You know why? I got a call yesterday. All right, I had to answer the question on one of the Facebook pages. Everybody, good news is that when they start people saying, hey, how do we do a lease per option purchase? What's that thing called? Right? And thankfully, all the Facebook pages say, call Bob, call Bob, call Bob, call Bob. All right? Because you have to call Bob. All right? And the reason is because a lease option, lease purchase is a tricky situation, all right? And the manner in which I would allow a lease option or a lease purchase is so prohibitive, right? That you're like, why would a seller do that? Yeah, why would a seller do that? Okay? Because I don't allow non-refundable money. I don't allow this. I make whoever's benefiting, like the buyers requesting it, I make them pay for an attorney to draw it up and not us. All these things. They're like, oh my God, I'll just go find another property. Amen. All right? Or I'm just going to wait till the buyer's ready to buy instead of having to do a lease purchase. But these guys come along who are prepared to buy the home and then in turn do a lease purchase with your buyer, right? Lease option, what do you guys call it? Lease purchase. Okay, lease purchase with the buyer, and we're out of it. By the way, you get paid on the front side. I'm stealing Jamie's thunder, right? But you get paid at the first closing, not at the closing that might happen 18 months from now if this buyer somehow gets their tufts together, right? Okay, you get paid up front because they paid cash for the property and you're out, right? All right, Jamie, come tell us what you do. All right, that's awesome. All right, I'll get you all set up with your.
Perfect.
Now, this does not project your voice.
Okay.
So it's just for our online.
Sure.
Version, so I'll get you all fired up here with your.
Perfect. Thanks very much.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I can use the internet too?
Oh, can I use the internet? Do you have a new website? You have a new.
If not, it's okay.
Yeah, it's a different. Probably no.
Okay, that's
All right,
fine.
good deal.
All right.
Easy answer.
No, it's fine. All right. Or maybe I'll just do this. All right. So how's everyone doing?
Great.
All right. So my name is Jamie Friedman. I'm an account manager over here at Home Partners. It looks like some of you have already heard about Home Partners. So what I'll do is really just talk about who we are, what we do, what we offer. So we are a cash buyer. We have a lease purchase program so you as an agent, you convert what could be a rental or a dead lead into a full sales commission by representing a strong cash buyer.
Agent training presentation?
Yes, sir. So our program is great for people who want the benefits of a single family home but aren't able or willing to commit to a mortgage for any number of reasons. So this is the point where I go on to the next slide. No, it's all good. So does anyone work rentals? Yeah, a couple of people. For those of you who don't, what's the reason?
You don't get paid.
You don't get paid? What if I told you you could make a full sales commission off that rental lead? Interested now, maybe? Perfect. All right. Thanks, Bob.
Let's see. I don't know if my clicker's working. Just saying.
It's okay. I could just do
Maybe
this.
battery issues. So.
It's all good. Cool. So with our lease purchase program, today we purchased over 16,000 homes all across the country. We're in 41 markets in 21 states. And to date, over the Tampa Bay area, we purchased about 1,200 homes. In Florida alone, over 2,200 homes. So we're in Tampa Bay, Orlando, Jacksonville, Miami, Fort Myers, Sarasota. Our number one agent did 65 transactions just last year, so all he does is Home Partners. So if you want to do this as just a tool, whenever you're coming across rental leads, 1 or 2 leads per year, or if you want to learn how to do this full time, let me know. Does anyone here know Chris Light? Is Chris here? He told me he was going to be here. So Chris has done 14 transactions with us so far. He did 8 last year. Future so far has done 25 transactions with Home Partners, which is pretty great. So we offer a lot of choice, flexibility, and control. Without any further ado, let's talk about how this works. So it's really simple. So the first step to do is to find someone who's a good fit. So someone looking to rent, can't qualify for a mortgage, doesn't want to commit to one. You invite them for approval through our website at homepartners.com. Once they're approved, take them shopping almost like they're a pre-approved buyer. So I'll talk about the resident criteria in just a minute. So you find someone who's a good fit, you invite them for approval, they find a house that's for sale. So we're looking for active listings off your MLS that fit our criteria. If it does, we buy that house in cash, you get paid a full sales commission. Pretty cool. That person that becomes our tenant, they sign a 1-year lease, that's it. That's their only obligation, just a 1-year lease. So they can stay in the house up to 5 years, guaranteed. We won't kick them out. They can walk away at each lease term if they choose to, just treat it as a rental. They can also purchase the house back from Home Partners at any point at a predetermined price. So I'm talking really fast because I don't have a whole lot of time to talk, so I'm going to take a step back. So you find someone who's a good fit, you invite them for approval, they get approved, they find a house of their choice that's for sale. We buy the house in cash, you get paid a full sales commission. They sign a 1-year lease, that's it. They can stay in the house up to 5 years if they choose to. They can walk away at each lease term like you would any other rental. Unlike any other rental, they can buy the house back from Home Partners at any point. Pretty simple.
And it's predetermined price, right?
Yep.
Is it escalated each year, or is it set for like 12-month windows?
So it escalates each year. It's locked in for 5 years. So the rent, that increases 3.75% per year, and the purchase price increases 5%. So we'll go on to the website right now and see how that looks. Very good question. Oh, well, I'm not going to go on the website. That's right. Oh.
What
It's
about the
too
fact they're
used to
getting
it.
appraisal that 5% isn't an increase in the economy, so they can't get a mortgage?
So if the house doesn't appraise, which is also a very good question, they can pay out of pocket for the difference. They can walk away without any penalty, no option fees, no nothing, or they could just continue leasing through the 5th year. Hopefully the house appraises. It only increases in this market 5%, but let's say the market takes a nosedive and that $300,000 house is now worth $250,000. They're not stuck with that mortgage. They can walk away without penalty.
Like Bob was getting at, what if you make the decision to purchase like halfway through the year?
So if they do decide they're exercise their right to purchase, they have to give us a 60-day notice. That's it. They could purchase at any point. They don't have to wait until the end of the first year. Once they do, they pick a lender of their choice, for you lenders out there. So they pick a lender of their choice, give us 60 days, they can exercise the right to purchase. That lease gets dissolved. They get their deposit back in full, so they can use that any which way they like.
So that appreciation that's gauged by the year, is it like prorated if you exercise mid-year?
No, so the window to purchase is from day 1 through day 364.
Correct.
All right, is X price. And if it leaks into day 367, guess what? The price just went up by another 5%.
Exactly,
All
yeah.
right, because you've got to buy in that, you got to close in that window, right? But to your point, you're only paying 5% more than quote unquote they paid for it in year 1. But let's say it appreciated at 8%. Who benefits from that? The tenant / new owner.
Exactly.
They're just going to get the 5% increase.
No, just 2 months security deposit. That's it. That's equivalent of 2 months rent.
This is a good deal. Got cash buyers waiting to go.
What do you normally require for the potential renter project application?
So that is a good question. Let's jump onto that. So for our residents to get approved, they're getting approved for a rental amount. They're not getting approved for a list price. So it's pretty straightforward. This is also in your booklet as well. So they have to make an annual household income at least $45,000 or more, and that's household, not per person. In this market, for finding homes that rent for $1,250, that's the equation for $45,000. It's really hard to find a home that we could actually purchase. So I say in this market about 55 plus household income. So I say in this market 55,000 household annual income. That's for everyone in the whole house. Proof of stable employment. So typically for a mortgage, it's about a 2-year job history. With home partners, it's just last 2 pay stubs. That's it.
Credit scores? I mean, you guys.
Yes, we look for a combined household FICO of a 575 and above. That's for everyone in the whole house. So we look at 2 things to approve people. We look at a 35% rent to income ratio on the front end and a 45% debt to income ratio on the back end. Whichever one is lower, that's how much they get approved for. So if they're self-employed, a 1099 or 2 most recent bank statements is fine. 2 month bank statements, yep. That's fine, yep.
You gotta realize they're just renting the home, right? Okay, because these people are.
Yep.
And by the way, Jamie will tell you, you guys are a little picky on where you buy, right?
Yes, we do have approved communities. You can see on the website where all those communities are located. So we look at really communities that are going to retain their value for us to sell it back to the residents. So our thing is for people have an opportunity to purchase a house back. If the house doesn't appraise, they won't be able to get that mortgage. So we do really approve our communities, good school systems, good areas that are going to appraise.
And where's that algorithm? I mean, I know it's probably trademarked and you can't tell me what it is, patented, but schools are important, right?
Schools are very
You guys have
important.
found a correlation between good schools and appreciation.
Exactly, correct, yeah. When people are moving here, they're relocating, they want to have great schools, so it's really important. People who are relocating are great candidates for our program.
Tying into that, as a listing agent, do you pre-approve the house with you, can you get a sign writer saying, certain property for rent to own, can you market it?
So I could show you, if we could go on the website, how to do that, but if you want to contact me directly, I could show you how to do that. It's pretty easy. Yeah. Yep.
If you have a listing that you want to market as home partner available, yeah.
Yeah, so
Great idea.
For listings, it's fantastic. You know, we pay 98 to 104% of list price on average. We're a cash buyer with no appraisal contingency, no mortgage contingency that closes in average 21 days. So it's pretty attractive for a lot of sellers. My phone number, area code 312-909-0948. Again, that's 312-909-0948. That's my phone number. My name is Jamie, Jamie. 312-909-0948. Question?
My understanding is that Home Partners requires a certain title company, a national title company brand, to close everything.
We close with Sunbelt Title. We used to close with Stewart, but we don't close with Stewart anymore as effective January 1st. Oh, sorry. I was TRG, they're part of.
So how do other companies become available? And if they don't, how is that not violating the anti-Stewart?
That is a good question. I don't want to steer you away from your questions. So if you want to give me I can shoot me an email. I could get you some literature for that. My email is J as in Jamie, Friedman, F-R-I-E-D-M-A-N, spelled like fried man, at homepartners.com. So if you want to send me an email, I could get you that answer for sure. J. Friedman, J. Friedman at homepartners.com. So anyhow, back to this real quick. So proof of stable employment, we just need to see 2 pay stubs, most recent W-2, most recent tax return, self-employed at 1099, or 2 most recent bank statements. If they're moving for traditional employment, we'll take an offer letter as well. No pending Chapter 7 bankruptcy, so as long as it's not pending, it's been discharged, they can apply the next day. No disqualifying criminal history, and a minimum of 6 weeks to move into the home. So we do have a process. I don't know if I have a lot of time, so I'll try to. So.
Good information. I'm telling you, you guys could add cash buyers to your repertoire in a hurry.
So we do have a program timeline right here. This shows you step by step of what the program takes. So I'll talk about that pretty quickly. So once somebody applies to the program, we do have a $75 application fee. It takes us 1 to 3 business days to run that application. Hopefully they're approved. Once they're approved for a rental amount. They can take that rental amount, look on our website, almost like they're a pre-approved buyer. So the type of homes that we're looking to purchase are single-family or fee-simple townhomes listed in one of our approved communities. Between $100,000 to $400,000, traditional sale or for sale by owner only. So what we're really looking for are move-in ready houses that don't need a whole lot of work. So if the home needs a new roof, has foundation problems, aluminum wiring, we'll not purchase those type of houses. Pretty basic. So we will have an inspection. If I could get on the internet, it's throwing me off. I'm getting derailed here. I'm like, what's happening? So once somebody finds a house, they find a house that's for sale. It shows up on our website automatically. You show them the house. You then have to submit the house to us. Once we approve the house, we can write up a contract pretty quick. All that is located right here as well. So there is a process that happens. We do have to do some homework before we make a big investment. Our average price point here is $300,000. So that's a pretty good incentive for you. 3% of that, full sales commission. It's pretty awesome. Question? Correct. Yeah.
Do you have a database of the homes that you already own? Because I ran into HOA communities that have where you can only, if it's a leased property, there can only be one leased property within that entire community.
That's a good question. We don't have a database of, okay. The homes that we've listed for rental, you could see at our property management company. That's called Pathlight, PropertyMGT.com. There's only about 60 homes in the whole state of Florida that are we're trying to list for rent. But if you want to send me an email, I could send you a list of zip codes that we're actually purchasing.
You mentioned inspection. Is it like would you hire a home inspector and it's paid for by you and available to the buyer when they buy?
So that's a really good question. We do hire and pay for the home inspector. We use a Amerispec all across the country. So the process is pretty simple. Once they find a house, you have to submit the home to us. Once we approve that home, we can actually write up the contract on the standard state form. We paid 98 to 104% of list price. So we're pretty attractive for a lot of sellers. Hopefully we go under contract. Once we do, we schedule and pay for the inspection. We need your help with that inspection. And once we get that inspection report back, we ask the sellers credit for the repairs that we find. I know that was really talking very quickly.
No, that's very good. Let me ask you this.
Sure.
Most lease purchase programs write an as-is lease. Say, hey, look, if you're going to eventually maybe own this property, then, hey, you're going to live in it like you're the owner. How are you guys? Are you guys a typical landlord, like you're responsible for repair?
FAR bar. So as far as for the lease, we take care of all the repairs.
Okay, so that's unlike it. This is
yeah.
even better for your tenant, because most of the time, a lease purchase is written like, hey, once you move in, it's yours, baby. If you're going to potentially own this thing, then AC breaks, you're living in it like you're the owner.
Yep.
Whereas they're going to say, hey, look, nope, we're just a normal landlord-tenant relationship.
Yep, typical tenant-landlord relationship. Anything breaks, they call us, we fix it.
Good question.
Renovations,
let's do this first.
Sure.
Renovations, so they want to move a wall, repaint the master bedroom into that.
So the only thing they can really, elect for is new paint, new appliances, and new carpet. They can't do like, we want to put in a new bathroom over here or whatever. Since they are just tenants, they can only apply for like new carpet and new paint, new appliances. But that's a really good question. Did you have a question right here?
What is your percentage of success of them, the tenants buying the property?
So roughly in the first year, it's about 7%, but that's a national average. Those numbers are a little skewed because we've only been in some markets for like a couple months, a couple years. We just opened up Phoenix 2 months ago, and we're opening up a lot more throughout this year. But roughly on a national average, it's 7%. Correct.
They exercise their option, if
Yep.
you will.
Yep.
And also,
In the first year.
Yep.
okay, you have some markets, some areas here in Tampa that exceed that 400, right?
No.
So they have been lowered.
It used to be 450. It's 400 now. Yeah.
It used to be 550 in one area of town.
You sure about that?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I've only been with the company for about a year and a half, so.
Like that, so it was 550.
Yeah, it used to be,
Yep.
now it's 400.
Yep. Now it's 400. It's 400. Yep. Yep.
So when we find the property, you said you write the contract?
Correct. So we ask for your opinion of value, both high and low. We send over the right to purchase and rental amount based on our highest and best offer to the residents to sign off on. So they know worst case scenario how much they'll pay in rent for 5 years and purchase a home. Once they agree to those numbers, we write up a contract on a standard state form, proof of funds, and a cover letter explaining who we are. We give it back to you to present to the sellers. So roughly about 30 to 50 minutes.
Way better than your normal buyer.
Keep in mind.
Way better because they have cash.
Yeah. So you will act as our liaison between the sellers and home partners. You will handle any of the negotiations going forward, but that is between just you as just presenting the contract. So we could write up.
So we go back to you and say, oh, here's what they.
This is what they countered. Exactly. Yep. Yep. Mm-hmm.
The relationship actually changes because we've done a couple of these. Initially, your buyer is your client. Then once that offer is submitted, home partners becomes your client and the buyer becomes their tenant.
It's a little confusing. Exactly. Thanks for bringing that up. Who is actually the client? Home partners is the client. So you represent us as the buyers.
By the way, they're a better client. No offense against your clients, all right? All right? But they're cash and there is no credit issue and there's none of it, and they can write a check tomorrow, all right?
You would act like a buyer.
Okay.
Yep.
Where's your money come from?
That's a good question. We're privately funded. Our biggest backer is BlackRock.
You haven't heard of BlackRock? You've been under a rock. All right?
Well, last.
See that one in the Super Bowl at the end when the guy said, "You've been living under a rock. You've been, all these different things."
Oh yeah.
And he has his head up in the back.
Yeah. So last year we spent 1.1 billion. This year we're looking to spend 2.3. So trying to grow pretty big.
Hey, it's a great model. I mean, think about it, right?
Yeah.
They're looking at 5%. They got pre-approved tenants ready to move in as soon as they buy. They're not having it's genius, right? so genius, I thought of it a long time ago, I shouldn't have the money. All right? So it's a great concept.
Awesome. We do have some great training, some great marketing. I don't want to take up too much time, but if you guys want to learn more, please reach out to me, Jamie Friedman, 312-909-0948. J as in Jamie Friedman, Friedman, @homepartners.com.
So Jamie, if I sometime brought you back, right,
Yeah.
and had internet,
Yes.
all right, for you, all right, and could we record a session that we could put up on our website? and all that kind of
Absolutely,
stuff?
would love that.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll schedule that. We'll get him in to do like a full hour presentation with the internet. All right. What's that? What's that? That's what I'm saying. Do it.
My phone number?
I went through a training over a year ago with a title company.
Yeah.
My phone number is, I'll say it in the mic, 312-909-0948. Jamie? Jamie. I do not. I came my 5th week on the road, so I didn't get to go to the office and pick up my business cards.
Just a quick note to self, I do a lot of PowerPoints. I'm just going to make a mental note. Add puppies to my PowerPoint. That's all of a sudden looked up, all right? Okay. I don't care if it has nothing to do with anything. His has to do with pets are allowed, but I'm just going to put puppies on all of my PowerPoints. All right? Yeah, see, there you go. All right,
There you go.
Cool. Awesome. Any last questions for Jamie? Yes. Yeah. Any
Yeah, I can
potential?
help you out. Give me a call.
He'll role play with you. He'll call me up. All right, let's go. Come on. All right, I'm calling. Hey, do you have any of those lease option purchase things available? Oh, yeah. All right. We got it all going on here, man. We can buy almost any house in the world as long as it's a good price. There you go. All right? Okay?
Exactly.
It's the best deal ever.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you. That's great. Well, thanks for coming
Yeah,
out.
thanks very much.
All right, give
Appreciate
Jamie a hand. He did a great job. Oh, yeah. I don't need to. There you go. Awesome. I've downloaded your whole personal life on my computer, though. All right. All right. Okay. Never do that. All right. We are ready to wrap. Make sure, if you guys are sticking around for 100K, we'll get started right at 11:30. Oh, yes. Joe, before we wrap, Joe was going to wave at me. What do we got? Tech user group.
Tech user, so GTAR members. So next Tuesday night, if everyone with all those tiles are on your homepage there when you sign to Stellar, we've been doing I'm on the tech committee with Leah and Tom from FHR, and we're doing what they call tugs. So that's just a quick run of some of the tiles. Leah taught last month, did a great job. I've got one of them this month. But the other thing, so that's next Tuesday, 5:30 at GTAR in the computer lab. Sign up for it online. The big one, though, is March 31st is our Tech Expo. And we're bringing folks in from RPR, Remind, and tell you, they really go through about an hour and 15 minutes of how to use this tool. So if you're wondering about all this stuff, iExact, if you're using that, we found out we have 280 people that paid for it and haven't opened it up yet. So if you want to figure out how to use this, come see us. And that's sign up right away. That's first come, first serve. We're capping it at 145 because of parking. So March 31st, and then the tug group is next Tuesday, 5:30. Thanks.
Awesome. Great, Joe. Thank you very much. Take advantage of this. By the way, all right, how many of you love to complain about your board dues? Honestly, how many love to complain about your board dues? Right? You should. I mean, anytime you put money out of your pocket, there should be, where's the value proposition, right? What am I getting back? If you take advantage of everything Pro, everything GTAR, everything West Pasco, everything CPAR, everything, I'm a member of 15 boards, I could go through my list. Let me go get my credit card statement out and I'll tell you how many boards I'm a member of. All right? All those things, take advantage of the opportunities that they put out, right? Things like what they're doing here with the tech user group, all right? Highly encourage you to really dig in. Now, by the way, if you come back at 100K, I'm going to teach you how to not over-educate yourself, because you guys educate yourself into paralysis. You're like, okay, no, okay, don't over-educate. But if it's something that you think is a tool you could use that can be beneficial to your business, go learn about it. But don't go learn about it to the expense of working with a buyer or seller, all right? Catch it later, online. You Google it. I'm sure there's a YouTube of something out there, all right? You're doing it while you're at home, not working with a buyer, okay? Cool? All right, Jim, anything you want to add? Maureen, anything you want to add? All right. By the way, great job. You guys, January was killer again already. You guys are kicking backside. So keep it up. Anything I can do to help, let me know. Come back at 11 and 17 minutes, and we'll get fired up and go. See you.